But what I will say as we get ready for this closing session, that Gerry Dick of Inside Indiana Business, those of you close to the Indiana business community, he's a legend and he's amazing, and he will guide us through a really great closing conversation that I think very perfectly follows the conversation that you just were a part of here at the end. This next conversation will take place between Gerry and two representatives of companies that, for those of you who were here with us last year at the summit, we were super excited to be able to close out the entire event with an actual announcement of a new company, a global company, Brazilian IoT digital agriculture company, Solinftec, that had made a decision in an investment in innovation, right? The last topic we just talked about. Now we're threading you through to the next topic. Had just made a decision to put its first U.S. location here in Indiana, specifically in West Lafayette. And since that time has continued to grow very dramatically. Their CEO has traveled from Brazil to be with us today. And we also are joined by, within the last year, another company, Inari. You've heard references to them throughout the day. They're one of our sponsors of the summit. They, Cambridge, Massachusetts based, very similarly followed suit and have now landed with a very significant research capacity that is headquartered as well in West Lafayette. And so we're really excited to have two leaders from both of these organizations with us today. This is probably the part of the program that I will say is the shameless plug. This is the part where we kind of do pat ourselves on the back and say, we're doing something right. And I want you to hear it not just from me or from AgriNovus leadership, but from actual CEOs, actual executives who are making what sometimes can be a really competitive and actually quite difficult decision of where they are going to put future innovation. Unfortunately, we had hoped that Julie Borlaug was going to be able to be with us from Inari. She has had some health issues come up in just the last day. But we are very happy to have Susan Martino-Catt, who is based for Inari here in West Lafayette and is really pretty much responsible for the standing up of the Inari footprint here in Indiana. So let me go ahead and ask Gerry, Rodrigo, and Susan to come out on stage, and we'll get them started. Maybe. Here they come. Thanks, Susan.
Great job, Beth.
Thank you.
Maybe the last full job.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. We got a big challenge. We're the last panel of the afternoon of the day, so we're going to try to keep it very interesting here. We've got a great couple of guests here, as Beth noted. It's an honor for me to be here and moderate this final panel discussion, because I truly believe, and we cover so much of it on our show, on our various properties, but there is so much momentum going on in the ag bioscience space in Indiana. And Beth talked about kind of patting yourselves on the back. It's very much a good thing to do. And to Beth and the entire crew at AgriNovus, so much of the momentum in this space is because of the efforts of AgriNovus, which in very short order has really created some excitement around the space, around the state of Indiana. Our final panel, the title, which I think is very appropriate, we've got a good thing going here, why Indiana? I think it is a great question that is, it's really a good time to ask that question. A lot of people are asking it around the state and increasingly outside of the state of Indiana. Two executives, ag bioscience executives we have with us today, I think represent kind of that new vibe around the ag bioscience space in Indiana. The ecosystem is growing from within, existing companies expanding and growing, organizations, but also new companies coming into the state from around the country, around the world, and seeing what Indiana has to offer and, in fact, making an investment here. So I'm going to have a little conversation here with the two great guests. Want to open it up to questions, make this very conversational. So if you have questions, I'll be able to see it on the monitor here, so I think you can just walk to the microphones that are placed around the room here, and we'll ask those questions. So I'll give a brief introduction and then have each of our guests introduce themselves. On my immediate left is Rodrigo Iafelice Santos. I said I'd say your whole name.
Perfect.
Was that good? Okay,
That's
good.
awesome.
Rodrigo is the CEO of Solinftec. It's a Brazil-based ag tech company that picked West Lafayette as its U.S. headquarters. Major investment, $50 million, has plans for several hundred jobs in West Lafayette. Very interesting company. So Rodrigo, I'll let you give the little thumbnail description.
Thanks a lot. Thanks again to AgriNovus for this great invitation. It's really an honor to be here. Being a Brazil-born company, we're not anymore a Brazil-based company, we're an Indiana-based company. We're actually going to move our headquarters. I'll be personally moving to the U.S. next year to live in West Lafayette with my family. Actually, my wife is, as we speak, looking for houses in West Lafayette, so if you guys know a good broker, let me know, please. That's killing me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to spend the whole day tomorrow looking at houses. Yeah. But seriously, I've done business in over 60 countries in my previous sad career as a trader, always in the ag and food spaces. I'm originally from a farming community in Brazil, Mato Grosso, which is very similar to the profile of people you have in Indiana. But I'm very much amazed, and one of the reasons we chose this state to have our operation based is really the people. I mean, when you look at Beth, the way she handles AgriNovus and her team, when you go and meet the guys from WIN, Johnny Park is sitting right there, the CEO of WIN, the kind of support these guys are giving us out of West Lafayette. Purdue University, I mean, we met Bernie yesterday at the agricultural department of Purdue University. They've opened all the doors and they've given us so much support that it goes to the extreme that AgriNovus has introduced us as a Brazilian company investing in Indiana to the 2 senators of Indiana in Washington, D.C. So that's the kind of support you get in this place that is very, very rare to find anywhere in the planet. So we're very happy. We feel home here, really, so much that we'll be moving here, all of us. Daniel, our COO, has been living here for a year, and he keeps on telling me he's not moving back to Brazil or anytime soon. So it's great. It's great to be here, really.
Oh, it's great to have you here, Rodrigo. Thank you. We're also pleased to be joined by Susan Martino-Catt. Susan is Vice President of Operations and Seed Supply Chain at Inari, a company headquartered in Cambridge, Massachusetts, Kendall Square, right, in Cambridge. A company that announced right about 1 year ago to the day almost an expansion in Indiana, creating the world's first seed foundry at the Purdue Research Park in West Lafayette. Plans for 50 jobs there. So, Susan, give us the thumbnail of Inari.
Sure. So thanks, Gerry, and thanks, Beth, for inviting Inari to be a part of this. It's been a really exciting conference for me. So I am born Hoosier, grew up on a small farm in Hamilton County, just about 30 minutes north from here. I haven't lived in Indiana for over 35 years, and so this is a bit of coming home to me, and I can't be more excited to be back home and to be working for such an innovative, creative company as Inari. And so I think we've got a small clip. Maybe let's run that as a background for Inari.
It's a unique moment in human history. Today, we have the technologies and the opportunity to change the world for the better. We have the power to create positive impact on our environment. We can transform agriculture and farming so that people and planet can thrive together. At Inari, we have set out to do just that. Inspired by nature, Inari is combining breakthrough technologies in genetics and computational science to create more efficient and resilient seeds. Seeds that require less water, less fertilizer, and fewer pesticides. Seeds that are not only more efficient, but also more productive. Together with independent seed companies, we are providing more choice to farmers. Our goal is to make farming more economically viable and productive, to use resources more efficiently, and to lighten the footprint of farming on every acre. Inari brings together the right people with a vision for change to develop seeds for a changing planet. At our headquarters in Cambridge, Massachusetts, we are making breakthroughs to build our world-leading genetic tools. In Ghent, Belgium, we are connected to cutting-edge research in plant biology. And in West Lafayette, Indiana, the heartland of U.S. agriculture, we are rapidly building our new products and testing them in the field together with our customers. At Inari, we bring together the technologies, the ideas, and the people needed to write a new chapter in agriculture.
Exciting stuff.
Thank you. It is.
I'd like to know each of your company's journeys to Indiana, if you will. Solinftec saw a need to expand from Brazil, Inari from Massachusetts. Rodrigo, I'll start with you. Talk about that process and why West Lafayette, why Indiana?
Well, just as I didn't bring a nice video, just to give you a little bit of background about what we do. Our focus is to increase efficiency on any operation within the farm gate. So we have tech solutions for farmers that help them produce more efficiently, less costly, and more sustainably. In a nutshell, that's what we do. You can visit our website and you will see all the different kinds of solutions we have for the different crops and geographies. And the reason we decided to come to the United States 3 years ago is precisely because we didn't see any other company offering those solutions to farmers. And once we run pilots for farmers in the Midwest, especially in Indiana, the first adopter of our company, or one of our great ambassadors here, is Kip Tom, who is from Tom Farms.
He made the introduction, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Last year he was part of the introductory video we had when we launched our office in West Lafayette. And he's now the guy at the UN representing the United States. So we're very proud of that. We've also had a lot of support from Mitch Daniels and also all kinds of leadership in the Indiana state. So again, the combination of being close to farmers, which is very important for us. Every single tech solution we have is born at the farmland and not with a team of developers and tech people. So it's a pull strategy. It starts at the farm, then it goes back to our tech teams to develop those solutions. It's always been like that. The company's been around for 12 years. It's been founded by 7 Cuban scientists that were in Brazil, exchanging intelligence, automation intelligence between the Cuban government and the Brazilian government. They decided to stay and apply their knowledge into agriculture, and it's been a great venture. They've invited me to join the family and the dream this year, and it's been awesome.
Yeah. You mentioned the Wabash Heartland Innovation Network, and I know they have a focus on precision agriculture, IoT. That's right up your alley, right? The perfect fit.
It actually goes beyond that. The role that WIN is playing, I think it will have a global impact. Because the way WIN is working closely with farmers, in a group of farmers that have a different mindset, a very forward-looking mindset, bringing companies like ours and many others to work with those farmers very closely and develop real solutions that deliver real value, that's going to change the way we produce food. If you think about all these things we hear everywhere, the growth in population, the problems we have with sustainability and environment and all that, if we don't work closely with farmers who are in the end the ones producing food, we're not going to change that. And to do that, apart from working with farmers, I see a lot of young people here, and I'm really happy to see that. We need young people to join the dream as well. Not only ask for transparency, not only ask for traceability, not only ask for whatever you guys want to have different in the world. Join the dream, help us do that. That's what we're doing every day, and we need good people to do that.
That's good. Susan, how about Inari? I mean, you look to expand out of Massachusetts. Obviously, you had multiple options, multiple places you could do it. Why pick West Lafayette in Indiana?
Cambridge is a great place. It's a hotbed of innovation and creative thinkers. Inari is a seed company, and I don't know if you guys have been to Cambridge, but you don't see a lot of corn and soybean fields in the Cambridge area. And so it was recognized early on that we really needed to have a footprint and a presence that brings us closer to our customers, our farmer customers, the independent seed companies. And so we did look around a lot, and what brought us here to Indiana, I think was just a convergence of a lot of things. And so we have we had the opportunity to acquire, to occupy fantastic facilities at the research park at Purdue. The Purdue team was incredible, and they continue to be incredible to work with. So welcoming. They really wanted Inari to be part of their ecosystem. And so we've got fantastic facilities, the talent pool there that we're able to draw from with the universities, not only Purdue, but across the state of Indiana, the business connections throughout Indiana, and again, just that proximity to that great black, rich soil that allows us to really test our products and get out in the field and stay close to our customers.
A lot is made, or I hear a lot in the kind of traditional, the software and IT worlds, which are growing in Indiana, about the support system, the ecosystem, the ability to partner with organizations like AgriNovus, with companies, with universities. How do you see those prospects, and maybe some you've already established, but collaborations going so far?
So we've been in West Lafayette now for almost exactly a year. So last January, we had 1 employee, and now we're up to about 40 and continue to grow. And so we're finding our way, and you know, it's the incredible welcoming again. I just keep going back to welcoming because that's really been our experience with AgriNovus helping us to make connections, to connect dots that maybe we would not have known how to connect. The Purdue community, again, just welcoming, helping us to understand what's available to us here. We've got an incredibly talented group of people at Inari, but again, we don't know everything or have all of those connections. And so to be here in this community where we are a phone call away from, hey, here's what we need, here's what we're thinking about, how can you help us, and then help us to make those connections is really been invaluable.
Yeah, Rodrigo, how about you in terms of those collaborations? You mentioned WEN and Purdue and others. So those collaborations and the ability to do that, how important is that?
That's simply amazing. As I said, you don't find that very often, not anywhere on the planet. And what amazes me the most is it's the combination of high-quality, educated people we find, and we have a great team. We have a group of grads from Purdue University that we're happy to have in our team, and we're very, very glad. We'll be hiring many more people in the coming months. And the open-mindedness, the humbleness you find in the people in Indiana, and the business-oriented mindset is something very unique. It's something that's really, really amazing to a company that's coming from abroad, that already has a challenge being Brazilian, because when you come into the United States, coming from anywhere in the planet, you already expect much more competition and many more obstacles being a foreign company. That's not the case here. People are very welcoming, as Susan was saying, and people are very open-minded. There's no prejudice of coming from abroad and having your company based here. That's something I find pretty amazing.
Yeah, neat. Anything surprise you, either one? In the time you've been in Indiana, surprised you about Indiana, whether it's the business climate, the welcoming kind of atmosphere, anything surprise you in particular?
Oh, it's a bit colder than Brazil, for starters, but...
Very true.
It's going to get worse.
That's right.
No, but seriously, what really, the infrastructure you have here is also very amazing. We have operations in 11 countries, mostly Latin America. Now the United States and Canada as well, we have clients. But the infrastructure you have, both logistic-wise, to go to Chicago or to India and fly anywhere on the planet. For a company that wants to be global, or as we're becoming global, we can fly to Brazil, we can fly to Tokyo, to Europe, to anywhere. That's also something that helps a lot. So the infrastructure, both in terms of logistic and telecommunication, for a company that wants to deliver real-time solutions as we do, that's something that helps a lot.
In the time that I've been away and coming back, the thing that has most surprised me about being back home is just the fact that agriculture is so front and center. You know, when I was here growing up, I mean, I grew up on a farm, and so I was surrounded by it, but it just felt very local and very personal almost to me. And so coming back, I'm just, and this conference is a great example of that. It's just very amazing, and it's exciting to see and feel and be a part of the buzz around agriculture and just how important it is. Those of us in this field, we're here because we have a passion for feeding the world and taking care of the earth and all of those kinds of things. And so for me, that's been the most surprising part, is that passion now seems to be spread across industries that you would never have, I would never have thought of 35 years ago.
Ask you about challenges. Every state is grappling with the challenge of talent, you know, attracting, keeping talent. How do you see that piece here? You're both close to Purdue, which would seem like a natural pipeline of talent. Rodrigo, as you look at the talent, you know, the ability to fill those several hundred jobs I think you want to create, but what's your view?
It's a global challenge. I mean, being here, of course, is an advantage because we don't want to source talents only for our American operation. We want to export talent as well. So the combination of skills you have in Indiana, engineering, agronomy, farming operations as a whole, the track record you have here in terms of high yields, good soil preparation, soil health, all this combined gives you the kind of talent you need to globalize and to take any kind of solution, doesn't matter if it's a seed company, a tech company, to make this from Indiana, make it available to any farmer across the globe, making them available to any farmland, and making food production more sustainable and less costly.
Susan, talent?
So we've grown from 1 employee here in West Lafayette to 40 in about a year's time, and I've really been impressed with the quality of candidate pools that we have been able to attract. And we've hired a range of positions from benchtop scientists to HR to IT. It's been the whole gamut, and very pleasantly surprised with the high quality talent. And I think that's a couple of reasons. It's because of the proximity to Purdue as well as other universities, a very educated population here. And then we've taken advantage of the opportunities of some of these big multinationals coming together and having to meet, you know, financial goals. That means people are available, and we've definitely taken advantage and enjoyed the upside of that.
Interesting. Any missing links, anything missing from the formula, if you will, here in Indiana that would help each of your companies grow? Anything you see?
From our perspective, I think the state is evolving a lot in terms of financial markets and access to capital. You still, if you're fundraising, and we are constantly, you still have to go a lot to California or to New York or whatever to access the kind of capital you need for the companies on a growth, on a rapid growth as we are right now, or Inari is right now. So for that, I think more and more funds will come and establish themselves here, and they should, because this is where the fun happens. You're close to the farmers. This is where your clients are. So there's no need to fly anywhere to raise capital if the fund is taking place here. So I think that's something that's still evolving very quickly, but we still have space to grow there.
Yeah. Susan?
We have at our hands here a real opportunity to continue to grow, and in the Inari plans, you know, within a couple of years, our West Lafayette site will probably be the biggest site for Inari. Oh. And so things that we will need to continue that growth it all comes back down to that connectivity. You know, whether it be seeking talent, funding, business opportunity, collaborations, it's all about the connectivity that will need to be successful.
Talk about what's next for each of your companies. Susan, you've touched on a little bit, each of you has, but in terms of growth plans, and as you see Inari kind of rolling out in West Lafayette, what's next?
In West Lafayette, we will see an expansion of our throughput. So great ideas come to us from our R&D team in in Cambridge, and then when they demonstrate that initial proof of concept, it comes to us in West Lafayette, and we do the scale up here and turn it into bags of seed that we then will be able to sell to our partners, the independent seed companies. And so the growth that we're going to see here is about scaling up. It will be about automation. It will be about efficiently managing information, those kind of areas. Last year we had a very successful field season given a very challenging time here in the Midwest. And so that will be another area that we're going to be looking to expand. How do we do more efficient field phenotyping? We heard Scott talk earlier about the use of robotics and imaging and things like that, and those are definitely areas that Inari will expand into as well.
Rodrigo, Solinftec?
So we've spent the past 3 years adapting and creating solutions specifically for the American farmer. We're very humble and client-centric in the way we understand the need of the specific farmer. We already monitor over 20 million acres in those 11 countries I mentioned, mostly in Brazil. We have around 68% of market penetration in sugarcane in Brazil, which is the biggest sugarcane producer in the planet. But still, we keep this humble DNA to come to the United States, learn with the farmers, learn through WIN, through Purdue, through all the partners we have in the United States. So this year, gladly, we're commercializing our first spraying solution, which helps farmers save on inputs, save on fuel consumption, and operate all the machines they have, either from retailers, co-ops, or themselves, more efficiently, producing food less costly, as I said, and more sustainably. So that's our first solution, and we have a pipeline of solutions that we'll be launching in the coming weeks.
Very good. How about a question? I think we have a few minutes left. Question we see? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, and I just want to start by saying hospitality has been a Hoosier brand forever, right? And on behalf of everybody here, we're just really glad you recognize that and we were able to respond to you that way, so welcome again. There's been a lot of conversation today about emerging changes in the ag economy, more of a consumer-driven economy, for example. Could you each address how your companies are going to specifically be helping Indiana and global agriculture with those emerging changes in the industry?
Go ahead.
Our business is really centered around developing solutions that farmers need and will have an impact. And the work we're doing will enable us to create improved seed, improved germplasm that's more resilient to climate changes, to environmental changes, to have a positive impact on the food supply at the end of the day, all while being very respectful of the environment and the earth. And so we're staying very close to our customers so that we can, the upside of being a small company is you can react very quickly and you can change course very quickly. And so as part of our market development, we're keeping a close eye on that so that we can be responsive to that in real time.
I'm thinking about how to respond to that because one thing that bugs me a lot, that really concerns me, is that we use big words and buzzwords too much without delivering real value. And that's something we talk a lot back home in our kitchen because part of the problems we have in the ag tech space globally is that very few companies are really at the farm level, working with farmers, having revenues, and delivering real value. So one thing I talk to my team very often is, if we're creating something that is not good for the environment, doesn't add value, and that means increasing yields or decreasing costs for farmers in practice, ROI, something he can see on his farm, we better not do it. What's the point? The world is becoming more and more concerned, especially the new generations, about transparency, so we're working a lot on traceability, about cost efficiency, about global warming. So all those things that we hear every day, everywhere in the planet, if they're not part of your values, of what you're doing daily, either on the tech side or in your operation, you might as well not do it, right? I mean, what's the point? If we're serving farmers to be more efficient, more sustainable, to feed a population that will demand more transparency and food that's more sustainable, if you're not part of that game, get out of the game. Go play something else, right? So for us, it's very, very simple. We're very result-oriented, that's for sure, but we're very pragmatic. And that's something I like very much about the American culture as a whole. Something we, as Latin people, struggle sometimes, is to be pragmatic. Sometimes we spin around, and don't get anywhere. So a part of the things, we talk a lot at the company about strategy, and the solutions we have in the pipeline is very, very simple. Spend time with the farmer. See if those boxes are ticking. Sustainability, environment, blah, blah, blah. If those things are there and you're delivering value, and someone's going to pay for that, because we need to make money after that, that's another problem in the ag tech space, or in technology as a whole. You see we work and all the problems we're seeing with different companies in different parts of the economy, not generating value and IPOs and a lot of money going in and no profits. I mean, if there are no profits, how are we going to pay for that game, right, in the end? It's a reality. And now it's profits, but in a sustainable manner, in a smart manner, respecting the environment and respecting the needs of the populations and new generations that are already telling us how they want the food. So that's the game we want to be a part of, and that's how we want to change how food's produced.
Very good. Rodrigo and Susan, I think I speak for everyone here in saying we're so glad you're here in our state. And I can't think of two better companies to reflect kind of that new age, if you will, of what's ahead for the ag bioscience space in the state of Indiana. Very exciting times. You've painted a pretty cool picture here for us, and we appreciate you taking the time. Thanks for being with us. How about a big round of applause?
Thank you.
Rodrigo and Susan, thank you.
A new song. Thank you again to both Susan and Rodrigo for being a part of that conversation. I don't know if anybody wants to make an announcement. We're at the end. I'm kind of looking. I'm not sure that anybody's got a super newsworthy announcement that they want to make, but I think you can obviously sense we're on the cusp here in Indiana on a lot more announcements, much like those two outstanding companies have made here in the last year, and we're very excited about that future. I just want to wrap up really quickly with probably a whole bunch of thank yous. I don't know how many are still with us, but maybe at least just a raise your hand. One of the groups of individuals that, besides our own team, who I got a chance to sort of at least show you by photo who's behind the AgriNovus team, another very important part of our community are our board members. I got a chance to put their logos up, but for any of our board members who are still here, you don't have to stand, but would you at least sort of raise your hands? Jay Hulbert, I see you. Others, Suzanne right there. I can't see everybody, but could you just, Johnny, could you sort of give that group a round of applause? Because that's a group that for a number of years now, we're about a 4 to 5 year old organization, has given more than just annual checks and occasional sponsorship donations. They've given their thought leadership. They've given us their experience. and they've given us their vision. And we take that really seriously. It's not just my decision or our team's decision on where we go and what we're building. It is a group effort and a team effort, and they have been incredible partners along the way with us. I'd also like to make sure I take this opportunity to once again thank key sponsors of today's event. Obviously, Corteva Agriscience and Elanco, our two presenting sponsors, title sponsors. The platinum sponsors, Forbes, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, Indiana State Department of Agriculture, the Foundation for Food and Agricultural Research, and also our gold sponsors, Ag Alumni Seed, Ernst & Young, EY, the Indy Chamber, Indy Partnership, Microsoft, and the Purdue Foundry, Purdue Ventures organizations. Would you join me in thanking those and our other sponsors for today's event as well? I say this, I actually, again, reprising comments from past summits. I know at the end of last year's, I said, I don't know how we ever do this again. And I think we did it today with this collection of amazing speakers and really great topics. So I'm just going to say it one more time for the record. I don't know how we do this again. And we're going to have to already get started on thinking about 2020 and how we continue to bring you all together as this community of ag bioscience innovators and supporters. And I know that wheels are already turning on exactly how we do that. It's really humbling for us to think back on a little bit of the history of this event, starting just 5 years ago as really kind of a 3-hour afternoon get-together of probably 75 to 80 people who I wouldn't say we had to arm twist them to be there, but they sort of knew they were supposed to be there. And now here we are, as I think I heard, 513 registered attendees, record-setting for us, and just continuing to grow in terms of size. I say that not because our team pats ourselves on the back about the size of an event. I say that because that is representative of the growth in the community itself. That so many of you, when our team looks through the attendee list that we get as your registrations come in, for most of us who do have agricultural backgrounds, can't tell you how excited I get when I say to Libby, I don't even know who that is, and I've never even heard of their company. That is the magic of putting an event and a day like this together. And so thank you to all of you, some who we know well, some who we're meeting for the first time, and you're introducing yourselves to us and wanting to somehow stay connected or follow through with us. Your time here today matters, and your engagement and involvement is hugely important, not just to the organization of AgriNovus and the fact that we're putting an event together today, but for the longer-term success of all of us collectively meeting so many of these challenges that were talked about throughout the course of the day. The video booth is still open out in the hallway. Some of you might get a little more comfortable when you have a glass of wine in hand to go stand in front of the camera and say a few words about your experience here today, who you are and what you learned. So don't hesitate. Maybe just stick with one glass of wine, though, when you're in front of the video booth. We might get some footage that we don't really want to have or share. But the reception is now open. We have hors d'oeuvres and drinks for you to get together, spend some time. I want to make sure that I just sort of finish by, again, referencing, I think there's a slide here, how do you stay connected with us? And you've heard already today that there's a whole lot of ways that you do that. Some of it's just conversations, listening to our weekly podcast, subscribing to our newsletter, come to Quadrant, our social gathering once a month. But when I really think about sort of the Why Indiana message that we just heard, I made some notes here on my closing page. If I were to answer why Indiana, right, I would say words like talent, ingenuity, farmers, startups, global leaders, people, vision, hospitality. But I think more than anything for me, because this is the focus of what we do here, it's community. And so making sure that you do walk away from a day like this and feel like you are now a part of this community, whether that's an ag bioscience community, an AgriNovus community, an Indiana community, a talent community, a startup community, you pick. You put the adjective on front of that. But please know that this is the beginning of more connections with each of you. And we hope you feel the same. Hope you stay connected with the work that is happening here, not only with our organization, but in Indiana. And we hope that you very much enjoyed the day. Please join me in thanking all of our sponsors, all of our speakers, and my team. They could probably use a big round of applause for the work that they did. And to yourselves for being a part of this. So it means a lot for us to have you with us today. And with that, I hope you have a very enjoyable closing part of the day together. Spend time at the reception and safe travels home. Thank you very much.